Good morning. It's our partner church Sunday, and I don't think we've ever sung some Hungarian together as a congregation. Doesn't that sound like the most fun thing that you could do on a Sunday morning? Okay, in the Till hymn book, hymn number 1043, is this wonderful Hungarian blessing. And the words are up here, and they're spelt phonetically. So if you just read them like you were reading English, Halhit at szeretet. Try it.
Halhit at szeretet.
Hal szeretet at béke.
Hal szeretet at béke.
Hal béke at áldás.
Hal béke at áldás.
Hal áldás at Isten.
Hal áldás at Isten.
Hal Isten at szükség.
Hal Isten at szükség.
Nishen. And it's a great melody. The choir's been practicing and they'll help you. Okay? Uh-huh. What does it mean? We're going to get to there. You're so anxious. Let's start here. Here we go. You're singing in Hungarian. Amazing. Next slide. This is what it means. Where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is blessing. Where there is blessing, there is God. Where there is God, there is no need. Let's try that together, shall we? Okay. Different melody for the English. Give it a try. Where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is blessing. Where there is blessing, there is God. Where there is God, there is no need. Let's repeat that. Here we go. Where there is faith, there is love. Where there is love, there is peace. Where there is peace, there is blessing. Where there is blessing, there is God. Where there is God, there is no need. And yes, you guessed it, we're not going to sing it around, but we're going to sing the English and the Hungarian at the same time. We can only project one at the same time. We can't project both of them. Which one do you want projected? English, Hungarian? Hungarian it is. If you're going to sing the English, you'll need to open your hymn book to hymn number 1043. And I'll have the basses and altos sing the Hungarian with you. Sopranos and tenors will be singing the English. And we'll do that once, and then we'll switch. And maybe you'll want to switch too. Keep having fun. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Halhit ad szeretet, a szeretet, ad békét, ad békét, ad áldás, ad áldás, ad Isten, ad Isten, ad right, switch it up if you want to. Here we go. Now one more time, everyone, Hungarian. Halt hit, halt szeretet, halt szeretet, halt béké, halt béké, halt áldás, halt áldás, halt Isten, halt Isten, halt szükség, You're brilliant. Thank you. Please be seated.
Good morning. You're all speaking Hungarian now. Fantastic. Welcome. Welcome to the Olympia Unitarian Universalist congregation. Our community envisions an interconnected and loving world that is just and healthy, and we commit to live out our mission to welcome and wonder, to embrace and empower, to bridge and become. Thank you for joining us today. And you are welcome here just as you are. Whatever beliefs sustain you, whomever you love, however you understand and express your identity, and in all ways that you are still becoming the person that you will be. My name is Rick Brandt Kreutz, and I'm a member of the Partner Church Ministry. I use he, him pronouns, and I have gray hair, and I'm wearing a green shirt and tie. We are excited to welcome to the pulpit today our guest minister, Reverend Adel Nagy. Reverend Adel preached here at OUUC around this same time in 2013, 10 years ago. And she, at that time, was the Balash Scholar studying at Star King Seminary in Berkeley. She will be speaking today from her home in Rexednied, Transylvania in Romania. It's about 60 kilometers from our partner church, Kisholimos. Reverend Adel is the minister at the Unitarian Church in Rexednied. Welcome, Reverend Adel. Also leading worship with me today is Troy Fisher, our music director, and Reverend Mary Gear, the OUUC minister. Here are a few things you should know about our service today. We are streaming live on Zoom and YouTube, and the service is being recorded. For those here in the sanctuary, you can see the sometimes creative subtitles on the screen in front of you on Zoom, and if you are online. Over here, we have some fluffy chairs and activities for your hands so everyone can be comfortable. We are a multi-generational community, and we value our young ones. Kids, babies, and teens are welcome in our sanctuary. There's also nursery care and story time program for children in the classroom wing. We are grateful for the many hands that helped make the worship happen this morning. Thank you to all who contribute in so many ways. After the service, everyone will have a chance to discuss the reflection questions. For those online, we invite you to go to a breakout room in the virtual coffee chat. For those in person, feel free to stay for coffee and fellowship in the Commons. And please check out our Partner Church Ministry table. If you'd like to receive updates on our partnership with Kisholimos congregation or are interested in being part of the team, the community that comes together to make this relationship alive in this church, as well as if you're interested in a future pilgrimage where we go together and visit in Transylvania, please sign up on the sign-up sheet and we'll send you information. At 11:30, after the coffee chat, please return to the main room sanctuary for volunteer training with Reverend Sarah on creating a multi-generational community. You can join Interfaith Works this afternoon for their annual celebration of community, culture, and music. This afternoon, 2 p.m. at Gloria Dei Church, Lutheran Church. This event is free and open to the public and is family friendly. Last, OUUC is partnering with Olympia Trans Family to offer a service for Trans Day Remembrance this evening, 6:30 p.m. Please join us here for this, honoring our trans community. There are many things happening in OUUC. Check out the Tuesday electronic update or the website for the most up-to-date information. So now, let us open our hearts and open our minds as we prepare for worship. It is good to be together.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Reverend Mary, and I use she, her pronouns. One of our beloved elders, Phyllis Clausen, died this past Wednesday at the age of 99. She would have turned 100 this coming April. She suffered a fall recently from which she didn't recover. She died at Panorama Convalescent Center under the care of hospice. Her daughter, Jan, wrote this about Phyllis's life. Phyllis Clausen lived her 99 years to the fullest. Born and raised in St. Paul, Minnesota, she loved the dramatic, volcanic landscapes of the Pacific Northwest and never regretted her choice to move away from her birthplace. A full-time mother in early adulthood, a role she found uniquely satisfying. She later earned a master's degree and taught English as a second language. She recently completed a memoir containing a chapter entitled, "Why Be an Activist?" It was a question she answered with a lifetime of commitment. Her environmental activism embraced efforts to counter the nuclear threat, as well as staunch advocacy for preserving wild places. A driving force behind Friends of the White Salmon during a number of years spent living on the banks of the river, she successfully campaigned to remove Condit Dam and to get wild and scenic protection for a portion of the upper river. Together with her husband, Victor, she helped found a Unitarian fellowship in Eureka, California in the 1950s, and ever after remained committed to Unitarian Universalism. She was a member of this congregation since 2016. She would say to herself, "I'm not a very social person," yet she had a gift for meaningful relationships, both within the family circle she cherished and in far-flung networks of people who shared her social concerns. In the years following her beloved husband's death, she formed new connections in a retirement community in Lacey's Panorama, even as she held her 3 daughters close. Phyllis is remembered here as an inspiration for living well, for caring deeply, and for being active in this world. She was an avid reader who stayed current with political and social events and who knew how to play the long game for justice. After the presidential election of 2016, Phyllis wrote a poem that her friend, Linda Crabtree, helped her format and print so that Phyllis could keep it close for inspiration in hard times. This is Phyllis's poem. I have lived through the Great Depression, Pearl Harbor, World War II, the Korean War, the McCarthy years, the Vietnam War, the Iraq War, Mideast wars. And I will survive and resist injustice until light shines once again. May we be inspired by the example that Phyllis left for us. She has passed the torch to us, and may we carry her light forward. We light this candle in memory of Phyllis Clausen.
This morning and every Sunday morning, Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world light a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. If you're online and have a chalice or candle, please join me as we light our chalices together. Bring your light, no matter whether it's bright or dim. For when we gather around this flame, the light that each one of us brings shines brighter, shines stronger in this worldwide community of love.
Isten áldja. God bless you. Welcome, everyone. Greetings from Transylvania. This is our time together, a time of reflection, a time of learning, and a time of remembering. Today, we set out together to honor the memory of those who walked before us and laid the foundations of our faith tradition. Let's do this together.
Let's sing together an opening hymn, this great Thanksgiving hymn, hymn number 349, We Gather Together. I invite you to rise in body and or spirit. Acclaiming creation. recommitting our passage to be a true affirmation in joy and tribulation. We're bound to human care and hope that we are free. Thank you. Please be seated.
Our partner church ministry team continues to connect and build our church relationship with the Unitarian Church in Chișolimos, Romania. We hope someday to return to Chișolimos so we can better live out our friendship and faith together. So now we're going to hear from our partner church minister, Reverend Levente Lorenzi.
A kedves amerikai testvéreink, szeretettel köszöntelek ismét, és örülök annak, hogy újra találkozhatunk, akkor is, ha csak így az online térben.
Dear American friends, I warmly welcome you again, and I'm so happy to see you again, even if this means to meet you online.
Sokan ismernek, én vagyok a kissolymosi unitárius lelkész, Lőrinci Levente, és szeretném bemutatni a kissolymosi iskola angol tanárnőjét, Szőcse Műkit. Ő segít ma nekem, hogy leküzdjük a különböző nyelvi akadályokat.
Many of you already know me. I'm Lőrinci Levente, the Unitarian minister of Chișolimos, and I would like to introduce Emőke. Hi, I'm the English teacher of the school, and I will help Levente today to overcome the language barriers.
Elsőként szeretném megköszönni az eddigi támogatást. Az évek során sok projekt valósult meg a ti támogatásotokkal.
First of all, I would like to thank all of your support because through the years, so many things were implanted and finished thanks to your support.
Itt gondolok az ösztöndíj programra természetesen elsőként. Nagyon hálásak a diákok és a szülők is egyaránt a segítségetekért. Ugyanakkor gondolok az épületeknek a javítási támogatására, amely a gyülekezetnek egy óriási segítség.
First of all, I would like to thank your support in the scholarship program. This was a huge help for kids, for the students, and for their parents as well. I would like to say thank you for your support of the repairing of the buildings, and I can say thank you in the name of the whole congregation.
Szeretnék köszönetet mondani mindezekért, mindannyiótoknak, mindazoknak, akik támogattak minket ezekben.
We all are inexpressibly grateful for all your support, for all of you who has been supporting us over the years.
Ez egy óriási segítség, és nagyon hálásak vagyunk érte.
This is a huge support, and we are all so grateful for this. Thank you.
Szeretném megköszönni külön neked, Rick, a türelmedet, a kitartásodat, még akkor is, ha néha későre válaszolok, de te érdeklődsz és bíztatsz abban, hogy ez a kapcsolat megmaradjon.
I would like to thank you, Rick, for your patience, because I know that sometimes I reply to you late, but you are still interested and you are still encouraging me to make this relationship going well.
Küldök neked most egy óriási ölelést, és remélem, hogy ezt mi hamarabb személyesen is átadhatom.
I'm sending you a big hug for you, and I hope that I can give this to you as soon as possible.
Ugyanakkor természetesen köszönöm minden barátunknak a támogatást, és az egész gyülekezetnek azt, hogy mellettünk állnak.
I would like to thank you, all of you, all the congregate for all your support and all your help.
Biztatom önöket, hogy jöjjenek Erdélybe, Kissolymosba, látogassanak el hozzánk.
I would like to invite you to come and see Transylvania, come to see our little village, Chișolimos, and visit us.
Az elmúlt években bár terveztük, nem sikerült találkoznunk, így remélem, hogy a következő esztendőben végül ha láthatjuk egymást.
I hope that next year we can see each other, because through years we will still planning you to come, but it wasn't possible. So next year I hope we can see each other.
A mi gyülekezetünk nagy lelkesedéssel várja az érdeklődőket, a látogatni kívánókat.
Our congregation is waiting for you, waiting all people who wants to visit us.
De amíg ez létrejön, addig is a gyülekezeti életünk folytatódik. Pályázunk javításokra, programokra, és igyekszünk elérni a kitűzött céljainkat.
But until that, our team is doing his job continuously. We are in projects, we are planning to repair our buildings, and so on.
Sajnos, egy szomorú hírt kell elmondanom, a templomunkat egy nagyon agresszív gombafajta támadta meg, amely elpusztítja a fabútorzatot, és ezt az idén fedeztük fel, úgyhogy minden erőnkkel most arra törekszünk, hogy ezt megfékezzük.
Our objective for this year is to destroy a very aggressive fungus which attacked our church, and this is destroying the wooden furnitures in the church, and we would like to stop this as soon as possible.
A jövő évre ez lesz a legfontosabb és legelső célkitűzésünk.
This is our most important and the first objective for this year and the next year as well.
Hálásak lennénk, hogyha ebben valamitben segíteni tudnátok nekünk.
We would be so grateful if you could support us in this as well.
Remélem, hogy mielőbb találkozhatunk, és nagyon köszönünk még egyszer mindent.
I hope to see you as soon as possible, and thank you a lot again for everything.
És hogy meghozzuk az érdeklődők kedvét egy kiránduláshoz, megmutatom, hogy milyen szép is ez a kis falu Erdély szívében, innen a templom tornyából.
And now, for those who hasn't been here, we would like to show you how beautiful our village is, and maybe you will be more interested to come here.
So, thank you for everything again. God bless you. Bye.
Each Sunday, we engage in the spiritual practices of generosity and gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. We each have the power to share, and when we combine our gifts, we create an offering together. I better do this. Here we go. We create an offering together that we can do more than any of us alone. We also express our gratitude for the gifts that life has given us, for the network of relationships in which we live, for the presence of this community. If you're new or visiting us the first or second time, you are our guest, and we do not expect you to contribute. However, if you are moved to be part of this offering, what you share will be most gratefully received. Today's offering goes to support scholarships and other projects benefiting the Unitarian Church in Kisholimos, including treating and repairing the fungal damage to the furniture in the Kisholimos sanctuary that you just heard Reverend Levente speak about. In 2022, we provided 6 scholarships to students, and we hope to sponsor several students again. Over the years, we have helped to restore the historic sanctuary, organ, and many other projects with Reverend Levente and the Kisholimos congregation. Finally, If something you hear today sparks your interest or desire to participate or serve, please talk with me or to some of our other partner church ministry members at our table in the Commons, or just talk with any of the ministers here. Many in our congregation have visited Kisholimos over the years and may share their experiences with you as well. And for those online, please just put a note in the chat and we'd be happy to talk to you more about that. You can participate in the offering by making a donation online or through the church website or by texting the number that will appear on your screen. You can also mail a check to OUUC or place your offering in one of the baskets passed here today. May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
Thank you so much for your generous gifts in all the ways that you share them. We gathered in community this morning, bringing all that is in our lives. Let's open our hearts to the complexity of life as we place stones in the water of our community. You will hear a drumbeat as we share today. It brings into our awareness that our individual hearts beat, and together we create the heartbeat of our community. So right now, let's just take a deep breath together, in and out, as we open our hearts to receive the complexity of all that is in our lives and in our communities today. We extend our love and care to the family and friends of Phyllis Clausen, who died last Wednesday. May they know that we grieve with them and we hold them in love. Once again, we'll place stones in the water this morning to acknowledge that our world is not at peace. We place a stone for the people of Israel. We place a stone for the Palestinian people. We place a stone for all the people of the Middle East who are impacted by war. We place a stone in the water for the war in Ukraine. And we place one more stone in the water in recognition of all the places in the world where there is war and unrest. And once again, we continue to raise our voices in prayer for peace. Tomorrow is Transgender Day of Remembrance. It's a day set aside to remember the dangers that our transgender siblings face every day, and to remember those who have been lost due to bias and hate. We recognize the call of our faith and our collective responsibility to build a world that affirms the inherent worth and dignity of everyone. For those online, I invite you to share from your heart by entering in the chat. Those of us in the sanctuary can see your sharing on the screen. And for those in person today, I invite you to come forward if there is something you'd like to bring into this community. You may hold your sharing in your heart as you place a stone in the water. Please come up by the side aisle and return by the center aisle. Let's hear the heartbeat of our community as we reach out our hearts in love and care to all who share this day. We'll place a stone in the water for all that has been shared online, shared from the heart. And one more stone placed in the water for all that we hold in our hearts and that remains unspoken. I invite you to join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. These words are offered by Laura Cowton. Spirit of compassion, source of life, God of many names, we gather today in gratitude for our many blessings, for being in community, for the tender mercies of our lives. We also ache with grief, concern, and anger about the terrible violence in the world and the human capacity to inflict harm on one another. We seek solace in our seeming powerlessness. We hold in our embrace those hiding in shelters and mourning the death of loved ones, the tattered fabric of our lives and their lives. We pray for those with power to create peace, that they may recognize the fragile and vulnerable humanity of those across from the table from them and see how we are all one. Holy Spirit of mercy, may all who seek comfort and safety find themselves in a place with no fear or hatred, and may all who suffer in pain and in anger be held in gentle, loving care to ease and heal their wounds. As we seek to build the beloved community, may we ever be guided by our faith in the ability of love to conquer injustice and in our ability to love beyond belief. May this be so. Blessed be. Amen. Let's be in silence together.
Let's join together in singing hymn number 352, Find a Stillness.
Morning. My name is Reese Dovey, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our time in Transylvania. In Transylvania, there is a city called Deva. Deva is a very out-of-the-way place. In fact, it's, as our tour guide, one of our tour guides described it, it is kind of not on the way to anywhere. So it's fitting that Deva was one of the last stops that we went to on our tour back in 2019. It's also fitting in a way that Deva was the final resting place of Francis David, who was the founder of Transylvanian Unitarianism back in the 16th century. Francis David believed in tolerance and religious freedom. He preached very emphatically about it, among other things, among other doctrines in the Unitarian faith, including the doctrine of divine unity, the idea that God is not a man who walks on earth. The principles laid out by Francis David, principles of unity and tolerance, were very important in the development of Enlightenment European thinking. It was in Deva, however, that Francis David ultimately met his end. He did not waver when times turned against him. When he first started preaching in the 1560s, he gained a following, a very large following, spread far and wide throughout Transylvania, throughout Hungary. He eventually gained the favor of the king, John Sigismund, but sadly, John Sigismund died in 1571, and soon after, the teachings of Unitarianism fell out of favor with the successor. Francis David continued to preach in the name of unity and tolerance and religious freedom, and he was told many times that he was being blasphemous, that he was to discontinue and to follow along with the official rule of the Catholic Church. He didn't obey those edicts, and he was subsequently imprisoned in the citadel in the city of Deva. He never relinquished his Unitarian faith, and ultimately he died there in 1578. We had the opportunity to go there a few years ago and visit what is most likely the final place where he died. Not his resting place, but in the citadel in Deva, there's a small cell where, let's just say it's very drafty up there. It's not somewhere where you'd want to spend the winter, but that's where Francis David spent his last days, and he never gave up.
Good morning. My name is Eleanor Dovey. I went with my son Reese to Romania twice. We visited Deva. It's considered a highlight of the pilgrimage for the purpose that Reese explained, where Francis David spent his last days still believing and still espousing the Unitarianism concept that God is one, he's not three, there's not a Holy Trinity. And his sentence that he was living out there for blasphemous innovation was where he ended up dying. When we went there in 2015, we were part of a very small group. There was only 6 of us, and as a result, the Unitarian minister of Deva, Reverend Zoltan, was able to get permission to take us to the cell, that the actual cell, it's not the actual cell necessarily, but it's what is identified as and attributed to the last place where Francis David spent his final moments. It's a very powerful feeling to be in the presence of the place. It is definitely depressing, it's drafty, it's cold in the winter, but to be in the place where this man who is responsible for the religious tolerance and religious freedom that we're able to enjoy today, basically, flows from the work and his beliefs. And so I just encourage people, if you have an opportunity to go, do go. It's a very powerful place to be. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It is so great to see you. And I was so touched by your reflection, Rice and Eleanor. Thank you for that. Forgive me for not being in a sanctuary today, but our sanctuary is not heated and there's no internet coverage. So I'm basically preaching from home. My name is Adel Nagy. I am a Unitarian minister in a small town called Recsenyi, Transylvania, Romania. My congregation is very small. It has only 105 members and is located in the Homorod Valley, the heart of Transylvania. It is a great honor to be here with you today. I am back to the Olympia pulpit because I had the privilege to preach in person too. It was in November 2012, and I was the Balash Scholar, a starting school for the ministry in Berkeley, California. I was a visiting student, and while taking courses during the week, in the weekends, I traveled to many different UU congregations in the United States as part of the scholarship program, including Olympia. And I spent a wonderful weekend staying with Mike and Joanne Young. I am not sure I would have thought that one day, which is today, I will be back. But I'm really happy to be back. This is a very special moment for me. Our lives have changed a lot in these past 10, 11 years. We live now in a post-COVID era, and the pandemic shook to a great extent our sense of security. If I was to name one positive side of the pandemic, I would say that we have found new ways of reaching out. We have found new channels of communication. With Zoom, we can break down physical borders and be present in each other's lives. Things are a little bit different here in Transylvania because many people, and especially older members of our congregations, don't have access to internet. So church is done only in physical presence. Let me start with a personal story that I experienced in 2012 when I was visiting my partner congregation, which is Bremerton, Washington. The second day after I arrived, my host family drove me around to show me the city. We were driving by a sign at the edge of a sidewalk saying Hotel Transylvania. And for a fraction of a moment, I thought that the sign was advertising the real hotel. But of course, I immediately asked myself, who on the earth would name a hotel in Bremerton? Hotel Transylvania. So not to show my monumental ignorance, I remained silent. But my hosts clued me in that what I thought to be a hotel sign was actually a movie about vampires. So if the magic word Transylvania is uttered, everyone will probably think of Dracula. This region of Eastern Europe is associated with the myth of a bloody count and vampires. It is a myth based on Bram Stoker's book called Dracula, a horror novel based on fiction. But you probably know, especially those of you who have been to Transylvania, that Transylvania is not the land of the vampires, nor Dracula. It is rather the land of fairies, a land of tales and beautiful myths about kings and princes. It is the land of legends about heroes and conquered battles, legends about hardships, perseverance, loyalty, wisdom, and sacrifice. It is the land called beyond the forest. It is the land of natural beauty, as you've seen in Reverend Levente's video. It is the land of lakes being formed of the tears of the sufferers, mountains rising from the sweat of the oppressed. It is the land of castles, fortresses, once being the land of freedom, justice, and honesty. When I pronounce the name, the word Transylvania, says a Transylvanian writer, Albert Bosch, my heart is in this word. My soul, my brain says, it is who I used to be and who I am today. And last but not least, Transylvania is the land of religious freedom and tolerance. It is the cradle of Unitarianism. The idea of anti-Trinitarianism became an institution here in 1568 with the proclamation of the Edict of Torda, the law of religious freedom. The Unitarian Church was born. For the first time in history, the edict proclaimed that everybody can practice the religion that best fits his or her belief, because faith is a gift of God. As Francis David, our church founder and first bishop, said. And as a result of David's preaching, the majority of this little province became Unitarian in those years. Transylvania was led by Prince John Sigismund. He was the only Unitarian king, and during his reign, Transylvania was a haven for religious freethinkers and reformers of the era. Janusz Tasbir, a Polish historian, says the following: only in Transylvania the local parliament acknowledged the coexistence of four denominations, enjoying equal rights, namely the Catholics, the Lutherans, the Calvinists, and the Unitarians. This made it the only country in Europe, except Poland, where anti-Trinitarians were tolerated in the 16th century. And let me open a parenthesis here. Only 2 months ago, I went on a tour or pilgrimage to Poland, organized by 2 Unitarian Universalist ministers from California for the 4th time. It was my first time on the tour that aimed to revive the anti-Trinitarian story of the 16th century Poland. and walk in the footsteps of the Polish brethren, whose religious beliefs were eradicated in 1658, and they fled the country or became Catholic again, because that was a state order. Many of them came to Transylvania and survived here with the Hungarian Unitarian communities. Theirs is not a story of success, and so much was lost. Churches, school, printing presses, and above all the lives that were lost due to intolerance. And intolerance is still present. As our group posed for a group photo in front of the Catholic Church in Krakow, Poland, the sign above the entrance door said that the expulsion of the Arians or anti-Trinitarians from the town was a brave deed. But this is only one minor example of intolerance. There are bigger ones all over the world and around us. In understanding who we are, we first have to understand where we came from as a church and as a religious community. And in doing so, we have to go back in time and try to walk in the footsteps of those walking before us. For us Unitarians in Transylvania and UUs in the United States, November is a great opportunity. November is a month of remembrance. It starts with remembering our deceased family members. And in Transylvania on November 1st, the cemeteries are flooded with candles and flowers, and families come together by the tombs of beloved ones to remember and honor their memories. It is a sacred time that connects us with our ancestors, with our family members who passed away, and deepens our sense of interconnectedness. And mid-November is the time of remembrance for our Unitarian communities. We remember our church founder, Francis David, who died in Davao in November 1579. He was the key figure of the 16th century radical reformation in Transylvania, a true reformer whose life was decisively influenced by his desire to know God and to know the truth. He was born in Kolozsvár around 1520 into a Catholic family. He was educated in Kolozsvár and other towns in Transylvania and Wittenberg in Germany. And after his return from Germany, he served as a teacher and the minister in 2 Transylvanian towns. In 1555, he was elected minister of Kolozsvár, and he later became the court preacher to Prince John Sigismund of Transylvania. As a seeker of divine truths, he followed the doctrines of Martin Luther, and later John Calvin, and he was briefly bishop of both denominations. However, after meeting Giorgio Biandrata, the Italian court physician of John Sigismund, he became a preacher, a minister of the Trinitarian deniers. In his disputes with other denominations, he advocated the indivisible unity of God and the humanity of Jesus. God is an eternal spirit, the creator and sustainer of the universe, and Jesus has a human nature and should therefore not be worshipped or invoked as God. In 5079, he was accused of violating the law of Reformation and imprisoned in the dungeon of the citadel of Deva, where he died shortly after his imprisonment, as the first martyr Unitarian bishop. Francis David, the first bishop of the Unitarians, is seen above all as the founder of the Unitarian Church. Secondly, a man who was always capable of self-criticism. When he found a new truth, he was always willing to change his previous position. He was a man who was able to change not only his heart, but also his mind. Every year in November, hundreds of people gather in the citadel of Deva. 800 gathered this year to evoke David's greatness and genius. And while we remember and pray gratitude, we also look forward and search for ways for living up to his legacy the best we can. Today, Transylvania is still a land of tolerance, where religious denominations live together peacefully. I believe we learned this lesson well, and we learned it from Francis David and his fellow reformers. From a theological perspective, we remained or tried to remain on David's path. Our church in Transylvania preserved its liberal Christian identity, believing in one God, rejecting the Holy Trinity and other important Christian dogmas, and regarding Jesus as a human being, as a teacher, as a master. Our religion is based on reason and freedom of conscience, as David dreamed it. When I was the Balázs scholar, I was attending the Transylvanian Sunday service at First UU Church in Oakland, California. And the layperson leading the service that Sunday quoted the well-known line from Spirit of Life to describe our interconnectedness. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. How beautiful, I thought, and I still think. Those of you who have been to Transylvania know that our over 550-year-old Unitarianism is all about roots. It is rooted in very strong and old traditions, and nobody questions their meaning. They are somewhat sacred. It is rooted in the land it grew out of. It is rooted in our Hungarian and Székely identity. Everybody is a lifelong Unitarian, and it's unthinkable that someone converts to something else. Unitarianism in Transylvania is a way of life, a way of loving and caring about each other. In the 19th century, there was a saying about us: they love each other like Unitarians. And Unitarianism in the US is indeed about wings. From what I have experienced from my visits, you have the courage to fly, to dream, to search, to question, to challenge. You have the courage, and you are not bound by economic and political constraints, as we are here. So how can we bring the wings and the sky closer to the roots? That is a question that I always ask myself. What are the intersections where Unitarianism and Unitarian Universalism can meet. I have only one answer, and I'm sure that many of you have one. And my answer is that the intersection might be exactly what we are doing here now, today, sharing our past, sharing our present, sharing our beliefs, sharing our dreams together. And I believe in our rituals, the power, the meaning, the purity of these shared values will enrich our lives and will draw us closer to each other. As we remember today, as we look back to honor the legacy that was passed on to us, as we learn the lessons of the past, let's look forward and dream together. Dream together of a future that is tolerant, a future that is accepting, and a future that is loving. So let it be. Amen.
Let's sing together a closing hymn. Hymn number 1010 out of the Till Hymn Book. We give thanks. I invite you to rise in body and our spirit. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day, for all gathered here and those far away, for this time we share with love and care. Oh, we give thanks for this precious day.
I thank you for being here today. Thank you for being together today. I chose the words of Robin Gray for extinguishing the chalice. The flame is extinguished, but not our hope for the future, our courage in the face of crisis, or the love we share in all the world. May God bless us. Amen.
rehearsed on Wednesday night. You know, put everything on simmer. And we rehearsed on Wednesday night.